Putting news first, this is BBC World News. Now Hard Talk with Zainab Badawi.
The government of President Bashir here in Khartoum has presided over the loss of a third of its territory with the independence of South Sudan. Some believe this has weakened his position. And there are still many outstanding issues and conflicts in the country. My guest today on Hard Talk is President Bashir, talking to me exclusively. Will he seize this opportunity to make a fresh start? President Bashir, thank you very much for coming on Hard Talk.
Yeah.
Any president doesn't want to lose territory. How do you feel about the loss of South Sudan personally?
قطعا الواحد يعني يقول انه حزين انه السودان انقسم الى دولتين.
Definitely, I'm sad because Sudan has been divided into two states, but that was the will of the southern citizens. From the start, we said we should respect the will of the southern people. The aim for us was to achieve peace. To achieve peace is of a big value, even if the price was to be the division of the country.
هو بالنسبة لنا قيمة كبيرة جدا وحتى لو كان الثمن بتاعه هو انقسام الوطن.
When I spoke to leaders in the south of Sudan before they gained their independence, they said to me, look, it was the fault of the government in the north. They did not make unity attractive. Do you bear personal responsibility then for the loss of South Sudan?
هو قطعا نحن أول حاجة قمنا من ناحيتنا بكل ما يمكن أن يقود إلى أن تكون الوحدة جاذبة.
Definitely. First of all, on our side, we have done whatever possible to make unity attractive. The first thing we did was we were committed to the implementation of the comprehensive peace agreement, an agreement that gave the South and the Southerners their rights, the rights they were wishing for as citizens in Sudan. We were committed to implementing the agreement, and we were committed to giving them the right to practice their rights as citizens.
أن تقنع المواطن الجنوبي الآن أن هو بيعيش في وطن بينال فيه حقوقه كمواطن كاملة.
But they said, look, we felt like second-class citizens, we felt excluded from the political dialogue because there was the Arab Islamist ideology that your government espoused, and really it just left us feeling very marginalized. You never really changed the rhetoric, did you, Mr. President?
أنا ما أظن هم مشمشين. وإذا كان النائب الأول لرئيس الجمهورية
I don't think they are marginalized. The first vice president of the republic was a southerner who practiced his authority, and we had about 30% of the posts in the government that were occupied by the southerners. In addition to their presence in all aspects of public life, military-wise, politics-wise, so no southerner is marginalized. As for the introduction of Sharia law, it is provided for under the Machakos Protocol, and the SPLM agreed to its introduction. Citizenship is the basis for obligations and rights.
أنه تطبق الشريعة في شمال السودان ويستثنى منها جنوب السودان، لكن الأصل في نيل الحقوق وأداء الواجبات هي المواطنة وليست الدين أو العرق.
You mentioned Sharia law in Gadarif in eastern Sudan last year. You said if the South were to split, then there is no place for ethnic or cultural diversity in the north of Sudan, and Islam will be the source of law and the constitution. Is that your intention now, Mr. President, to introduce tough Sharia law in the rest of Sudan, in the north?
First of all, I did not say Sudan did not have diversity, ethnic diversity. I talked about the right and the identity of Sudan, the religious identity of Sudan, and that Islam is the official religion of the state, and that Sharia is the source of legislation. Sharia does not discriminate against people on basis of color, religion, or language. That's not what we want. We have Muslims of all ethnicities.
والآن المسلمين منتشرين في كل العالم بكل الأعراق.
Now that the south of Sudan has become independent, you have got a lot of challenges in the rest of the country to meet. You're going to be losing, quite possibly, quite a lot of money because most of the oil of Sudan was in the south. 22nd of June this year, you made a speech and you threatened to block the oil pipeline if the south did not ensure that you got a good share of the oil revenue. Are you still threatening to do that?
أنا حاجة ما بهدد، لكن نحن عندنا حقوق. الحقوق أنه كل منشآت البترول وكل خطوط
I don't threaten, but we have rights. All facilities and pipelines and exportation via our seaports are in the north, and that gives us sovereignty rights. And the issue that we have to debate is that we have to share the oil for an interim period, and southerners have to negotiate. So we have the right to charge fees for the use of these facilities.
رفضوا هذه القسمة، بيبقى من حقنا نحن نفرض رسوم سيادية على استخدام المنشآت وعبور بترول الجنوب عبر الشمال وتصديره عبر الشمال.
How long is the interim period?
نحن المطروح هي 5 سنوات. أنه بيكون فيها
5 years where we have to share, and that decreases by 10% every year. And in the 5th year, the share of the north will be 10% and the share of the south will be 90.
10% نصيب الجنوب 90%. السنة اللي بعدها بيكون
But were you trying to assert yourself? Because, you know, companies and embassies in the south of Sudan told the Financial Times newspaper that they believe that there has been a fuel blockade in the south and that fuel prices have gone up between 300 to 800%. Are you throwing obstacles at all in the way of the south?
لا احنا ما بنخلق مشاكل، لكن المطلوب أنه الجنوب ما يخلق مشاكل.
No, we don't create problems, but we don't want the South to create problems. When they occupied Abyei, when they attacked the military in Abyei, that was an attempt on their part to create problems. The assault on the army is an assault on the state. And we would like to pass on a message that they have interest in the north and they have to preserve their interests as much as we have to preserve our interests.
في الشمال يجب أن يكون هو حريص على هذه المصالح بقدر حرصنا نحن على هذه المصالح والعلاقة.
You mentioned Abyei, and that is a border region, oil-rich, which is claimed by both north and south. What is your feeling about Abyei? If it came to it, would you be willing to allow them to vote in a referendum, the people of Abyei, and join the south of Sudan if they so wished? Or is that just a line too far for you, Mr. President?
First of all, I would like to correct that. That's a piece of information. Abyei is not rich in oil. It has a small oil field, and its production decreases, and production might stop altogether because the cost is higher than the proceeds.
It's got some oil. It has some oil.
2,000 barrels per day. Which decreases.
All right, so it's not as oil-rich as we all think it is. Okay, but it's still a border area which is claimed by both North and South. You have accepted the existence of South Sudan, but you've said on the borders of January the 1st, 1956, which puts Abyei in the north of Sudan. That sounds like you've already made up your mind that Abyei should stay part of the north.
Abyei is actually a part of the north up to now, according to the borders of January 1st, 1956.
It's being discussed at the moment, Abyei, and there's a joint administrative committee made up of northerners and southerners. The Ethiopians have said they're going to be sending in 4,200 peacekeepers to monitor Abyei because, of course, there has been violence there. 70,000 people have fled from Abyei. When do these Ethiopian troops arrive under a joint African Union, United Nations banner? And are you happy that they're going to be going? Do you want them there?
First of all, there are some arrangements, and as of now we are talking about creating some institutions in Abyei. There is a presidential institution which is formed of 4 people, 2 from each side. These are the authorities which will be running Abyei in security-wise, service-wise. Ethiopian troops have a mandate to preserve peace, to keep peace in the zone. So we welcome the Ethiopian troops because both of us welcome because they are capable of doing their job, unlike the current troops which have failed to keep peace in this zone.
You're talking about the United Nations troops there already. You want them out?
Yes, all the
you want the United Nations mission in Sudan to go?
We don't want any single person.
Did we not hear that Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, is perhaps suggesting an extension of the UN mission in Sudan's mandate?
We have refused.
But you're happy to receive the Ethiopians?
Sure, we are happy to receive the
And you would demilitarize and withdraw any of your troops from Abyei?
Yes, we are going to redeploy our troops outside the Abyei zone as soon as the Ethiopians arrive.
Is it possible at any stage, Mr. President, that North Sudan could somehow return to a conflict with South Sudan over this issue of Abyei? Or are you saying, no way, it will not be the cause of any war between us?
When we achieved peace, it was based on a conviction, and the last battle between us and the Sudan People's Liberation Army was in Torit, in which we decimated southern SPLA troops. We were fighting for peace, and we divided Sudan for peace, and we are keen on preserving peace. We should never fight unless we are compelled to do so.
But you might, if Abyei were to stay with the South, I mean, it's a very simple question. Do you foresee any possibility that North and South Sudan could take up arms against each other over this issue of Abyei?
There's a protocol on Abyei, a protocol that governs Abyei if there's a peaceful solution. But in the past, we were forced to fight when they tried to impose a new reality.
So it's possible. You're also experiencing violence in the state of southern Kurdistan, which is the state that borders the south. That is part of the north. You have the Nuba people there who fought with the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, the SPLM, during the civil war. There are now reports verified by the United Nations. An internal report on the 1st of July has talked about aerial bombardments, gunfire attack between forces opposed to you and those who are obviously supporting you. Tens of thousands of people have fled from southern Kurdistan. What's going on there?
طبعا أول حاجة البداية في اتفاقية السلام في بروتوكول خاص بمنطقة كردفان والبروتوكول ده هو جزء من اتفاقية السلام.
First of all, in the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, there is a protocol governing South Kurdistan. This protocol has outlined the participation of the Sudan's People Liberation Army, the SPLA, in government, and also talks about popular consultation that will be conducted by parliaments. That's what governs the agreement between us. The SPLA in South Kurdistan are governed by the security protocols. These troops should have been dealt by the SPLA.
قوات الحركة الموجودة في جنوب كردفان بيحكمها بروتوكول الترتيبات الأمنية واللي هي دي مسؤولية الحركة قوات الحركة الشعبية تماما 100%. كان من المفترض أنه يتم معالجة هذه القوات عن طريق الحركة الشعبية.
So you're blaming the SPLA in southern Kurdistan. But you know, if I say to you that the Bishop of Kadugli, the capital of southern Kurdistan, Reverend Andudu Adam, has talked about a war of domination and terror, ethnic killings against the Nuba people, who ethnically are very different from the northern Sudanese. I mean, he's saying that there are these attacks on the Nuba people.